the questions that were put to him were very simple, straightforward. The challenge with this particular case wasn't necessarily his understanding of the evidence and how it was presented. It was speech. Yes, anyone who hears the voice notes during the trial has a very, very difficult speech issue, which once you've listened to him for a while you can tune in, but when you first speak to him it's quite hard to understand him, which makes him present as a little bit more delayed than he actually is. So the interview was okay in terms of a process. Took a little bit longer than normal, but was no more difficult or complex for an investigation. Those complexities came later down the line for the court process and his understanding of the process.
And also his understanding of what actually happened,
yeah.
Because that was the key issue for the jury, wasn't it? Tell us about what they had to really get to the nub of.
So it was an extremely long trial for various reasons. MacPhail's evidence was long in itself and was quite in-depth into background and various issues. The crux of it came to the evidence itself. Logan accepted that he was responsible for Holly's death and the injuries to the boy, and he always said he couldn't remember what had happened. He says that he went there to harm himself, and that there comes a point where he says he just can't remember. There was various psychological theories put before the jury, along with the opinions of a forensic psychiatrist. So in terms of deliberating who was responsible, not a difficult one for the jury, because he pleaded guilty to manslaughter at the very beginning of the trial. What they had to contend with was the medical side of things and whether or not they were satisfied that he understood what he was doing. Did he understand the concept of death, which came up, and various other things, and ultimately the weight of evidence against him and the expert evidence by the forensic psychiatrist that came back guilty.
Holly
It'd been an on-off relationship for the two different backgrounds from different areas. MacPhail being from Gateshead, Holly originally from Consett, now living in Haltwhistle and going to school in Hexham. That relationship had ended around 2 weeks before, something which MacPhail couldn't cope with. Usually they got back together a lot quicker. He was desperate, absolutely desperate to get face to face with Holly, and his behaviour on the build up to Friday the 27th had obviously caused quite a bit of concern for Michaela, which she notified police about, and Holly and Mum were due to be spoken to later on that day, but sadly Holly never made it home from school on that Friday night. There needs to be parental conversations and teacher conversations and societal conversations around the intensity of teenage relationships, to make sure that teenagers are aware of what's healthy, what's not, what's appropriate and what's not, around contact, friends, passwords and access to each other's social media and friend groups. Everyone's connected in some way these days, so little things like where somebody is. You just need to be on Snapchat and you can instantly know where somebody is and probably who they're with if everyone's connected. So parents need to be a lot more aware, because these things can't happen. I think young people need to, if they are getting into relationships and they're spending more and more time together and more time involved, they need to be having conversations with parents about what it means, how it feels to be in these relationships. Teachers are always a good source that tend to be who kids trust the most. Their friends, how their friends are with their boyfriends, girlfriends, and that there just needs to be more done around healthy relationships with teenagers, to make them aware and where boundaries are and where boundaries should be at such a young age.